Hi guys, today we are going to continue reading The Storm Runner, chapter 12. A voice in my head was screaming, "Don't do it!" But this was Rosie, my Rosie. I hobbled past Nana's headstone across the desert, zigzagging between the mesquite and the octocolo. The jackrabbit skirted out from under the bush and I nearly stumbled over it. A huge black cloud formed so thick they blocked out the sun. The wind kicked and screamed, doing its best to knock me off my feet, but I pressed towards the beast, still hearing Rosie's cries and keeping an eye out for Brooks the whole time. When I got to the secret entrance, Rosie's cries sounded even more desperate. I scurried inside, crawling through the narrow passages, and then balancing carefully down the steep slope to the bottom. There was nothing but heat stopping silence. Even wind had stopped howling. "Rosie!" my voice squeaked. The place still reeked of vomit and rot, which reminded me of the demon runner. And just thinking about the stinking monster made me want to punch something. Suddenly, my blood ran hot, so hot I felt like I might burn from the inside out. That's when I looked down at my throbbing hand. It was covered in yellow ooze. The demon runner must have left some slimy residue on the wall I had touched. Panic rose fast and furious. The poison, it pulsed and stung. My skin began to puff up with big purple welts. Sweat trickled down my neck, and then I wiped it away with my clean hand and saw my perspiration was yellow. I closed my eyes and took a few deep breaths. I heard the rustling of the wings behind me. When I opened my eyes, I saw Brooks the hawk swoop into the chamber. She changed into her human form right before my eyes. I didn't even think I'd get tired of seeing that kind of magic. The way the air shimmered around her blues and golds and greens. Brooks' eyes searched my face and then landed on my neck. "The poison, we have to get it out." "I'll be fine. My blood will protect me," Miss Cab had said. But without her tea and her pain suppressant, how bad would it hurt? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm shooting for 1. Brooks shook her head. "The poison had time to ferment since yesterday," she said. "It's more toxic now." I snapped. Maybe this poison was talking. But when your blood is boiling and the venom in your bloodstream, and you have no idea if you're half monster, you'd do anything to say that you are completely whacked. "Why'd you really come here? This pooch is so wicked and can really destroy the whole world. Then why send some random girl to find him?" Brooks clenched her jaw. I could tell she was trying to decide if she should have let me have it with her words or with a punch to the gut. She did neither. "I can help you." "I don't need your help." Brooks ignored me. "It's going to hurt." Why do people say that? As if the warning of somehow makes it any better. Truth is, I'd rather not have known what she was about to do. But I found myself nodding, and she changed back into a hawk, and before I could stop her talons from slicing my arms open from the elbow to the wrist, the pain was terrible. Yellow ooze rushed out of me instead of the blood, pooling on the ground where it sizzled and smoked. And let me tell you, it smelled worse than 10-day-old fish and vomit combined. I gagged. Brooks took her human form again, squeezed it out while she was demonstrating by kneading her own arm. My eyes were half closed and I shook my head. I had been more coherent. I might have screamed, "No!" But my hand must have ignored my brain because it started to squeeze. The burning was worse than anything I'd ever felt. A million whispers bounced off the cave walls, angry and tormented. The cave began to spin, and I thought I might pass out. Then gradually everything came back into focus. The whispers disappeared, and bit by bit my pulse steadied until I felt myself again. When I looked down at my arm, the wound closed up right in front of my eyes. That's freaking amazing. I felt supernatural and totally awesome. My skin had just healed itself. It's a null thing. Pretty sure it has to do with me being supernatural. Brooks gave a small shrug. I shook out one arm. "How did you find me?" "I knew you'd be reckless enough to come back here alone." "I was waiting at the top," she said, pointing above. "When I called you, the wind swallowed my voice." She inched closer. "So the magic summoned you?" "No, but I heard Rosie." "What do you mean?" "Her cries. They were so loud, as if she was here." Brooks' face fell. "What? That wasn't Rosie, Zane. Don't you see they're tricking you?" "I know what I heard." Taking my hand, she said, "The eclipse is coming, and we have to find the artifact before then. I can't do it without you. You're the one in the prophecy. And then what? I have to leave? But you just got here," I blurted out. I couldn't help it. I'd only known her for a few days, and the idea of life without Brooks around seemed boring. "Do you hear Rosie now?" she asked. I shook my head and circles the cave, careful to avoid the toxic slime. I pressed my ear to the wall, maybe like a dog was inside of them. Brooks followed closely, speaking in hushed tones. "You're right, you know. Who am I to think I can stop the evilest god of all time? I'm doing it too." Her voice trailed off, and then she added, "I'm only part and all. It's why I can't shapeshift into anything except a hawk. No one wants to train a half breed. But if I could accomplish something big, it would be nothing my whole life." I recalled what the Aluks had said to my mom. Yeah, being half breed, nothing would officially suck. I kicked a rock across the ground. Ugh, I'm so stupid. That's what I meant. I mean, okay, I get what you mean. I could identify with her, needing to be something bigger, better than version of herself. So nobody sent you? You just like ran away? You could say that. From where? A place I can't go back to. But don't worry, no one's looking for me. What about your mom or dad? My dad's off with his new family and my mom's dead. Oh, I'm sorry. I snatched a pebble from the ground and rolled it between each knuckle. "Maybe you could stay with us then." "That's impossible." "Why?" "You can't fly around on your own there." She focused the rolling pebble. "It's not that I wouldn't want to or anything, I just can't." I felt stupid suggesting it. "Hey, I bet you're part magician," Brooks said, changing the subject and considering my whole body in a way that made my face flush a million shades of red. "Magician? Like pull a rabbit out of a hat?" "No, like a powerful wielder of magic." "Yeah, well, that wasn't one of the options Miss Cab listed. You're smart and devious, but you're also very loyal. And what? Dangerous, I mean. If you cross them, there's a place down in Uxmal, Mexico, called Pyramid of Magicians. And wait, I cut in, remembering something about my book. Isn't that also called the Pyramid of the Soothsayer? I wondered as if she was referencing the great soothsayer. It had to be. She had the whole pyramid named after her. "Yeah, it's called that too," Brooks said. "Maybe somebody can go there and see for yourself. We could even. You've been there?" In the same instance, another one of Rosie's whispers echoes in the chamber. "Did you hear that?" I hurried down the tunnel to see the rock wall, the same one the demon runners had been clawing through that day. "Hear what?" I began pulling a few of free rocks. They were loose and came out easily. My adrenaline was pumping. "Rosie!" Suddenly, the wall began to crumble like dust. A narrow passage revealed itself, and barely their light flickered from beyond. Rosie carried through the opening part of my mind. I knew it was a trap, but the other part I didn't care. I mean, what if really it was Rosie and I missed my only chance to save her? I wedged myself between the narrow opening. "Wait!" Brooks cried. I thought she might try to stop me, but instead she reached into the collar of her shirt and pulled out a three leather string, each with a mini flashlight attached. I brought back up this time. "Did you remember the batteries?" Brooks huffed. "Let's go." We made it out through the cramped corridor for about 20 yards until we came into an enormous cavity. The light yellow beam cried, circled in place. In the center of the floor, there was a green pool. Solicitites clung to the ceilings overhead, dripping into water in the pond with a yellow echo that made my blood run cold. Rosie was nowhere to be seen. I swallowed hard. We took a few steps past the pool. It gave off an overwhelming foul smell, like it was filled with rotting fish, pale rocks columns, and about 2 or 3 feet tall. It grew out of the slope ground and surrounding taller stalagmites with a flat surface. On top was a large stone bowl. I hesitated, then I drew closer and peered inside. Two cracked animal skulls were sitting on a pile of skinny white sticks. No, not sticks. They looked more like bird bones. Well, didn't that just spell welcome? This is a sacrifice chamber, Brooke whispered. Her voice was tense and cold here. The demon runners did this. They prepared the place for Al Pooch's release. My eyes bounced over the rough ash colored walls and across the uneven floor. I shivered. I guess they were means they were right on spot. Or the wrong one, depending on your perspective. I said, looking over my shoulder for any demon runners who might have followed us. I just wanted to find the thing Al Pooch was hiding in so Brooks could take him away to make sure he never got out. Then we could prove the soothsayers wrong. I kept expecting Miss Cab to show up any minute, too. Poof, out of thin air. She was supposed to be back before the eclipse. Brooks stood and turned to me. When you heard Rosie, it must have been calling you. Clever. I guess. She looked pale. Come on, we need to move fast. We only have a couple hours. Do you hear anything now? Aren't you the one that's supposed to be super bionic senses? I tried, remember? She said. I can't hear this frequency. The magic will only call you. I turned my ears, but all I could hear was the drip, 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 drip of the water and the strange breathing sound, like the walls themselves were inhaling and exhaling. A dark ripple shifted across the water. It's in there, I said, pointing to the pool. The puddle. Are you sure? I'm sure. Like 80% or 100? Brooks asked, frowning. I mean, there's a big difference. I was positive I could feel the air pulse and the buzz with the strange energy. When I stepped closer to the water, despite the sink, I felt drawn to it. And every second we stood there, I found myself wanting more desperately to jump in. I'm 1,000% sure. And it's not the puddle, it's deep. I'm not sure how. I knew it, but I just knew it. I knew it would be cold. Brooke sucked her lower lip. Well, that's unfortunate. Why? I can't swim. Okay, so unless the animal skeletons came to life and decided to fish Al Pooch out of the water, I was the lucky retriever. Great. Brooks raised her flashlight beam from the ceiling. Holy K, we're doomed. Those were not the words anyone wants to hear when they're standing in the dark chamber of sacrifice with the Lord of the Dead trapped in smelly pond and a few feet away. I swore under my breath and then craned my neck. The stalactites trembled, then split open with bone cracking sounds that sent chills down my spine. Tons of rocks fell as we ducked out of the water. When I looked up, I stumbled and gasped. At the base of the stalactites, dozens of glowing blue pods clung to the ceiling. A black ooze dripped from them into the water. Optimist, me thought. Maybe we'd made some kind of archaeology discovery. Then I saw the translucent husks were pulsing and stretching. Definitely not a cool archaeology discovery. Sleeping demon runners, just like Miss Cab had said. They had been busy duplicating Al Pooch's hiding place. It was time to bolt. As soon as I grabbed the Brooks' hand and led her to the back way we'd came, the demon runners leaped down from the ceilings, blocking the path. He swiveled his head slowly, like he was searching for us. We froze in our tracks. Brooke squeezed my hand so hard I thought she might break my bones. Then, one by one, the lights went out in the pods above. And if you've ever heard someone slurp the last of a shake through a straw, you'll understand the sound that was filling the cave. The sacks were opening. The demon runners squinted. This was the time I wish I didn't have night vision. I didn't need to see why the evil, beady eyes roamed the chambers. Zane Aspio, he hissed, stretching his arms out towards us as we slowly backed away. Demon runners or pool. I whispered, every muscle in my body tensed, ready for a fight. Neither, Brooks breathed. Above us was a newly hatched demon runner, hung upside down like a bat, stretched its neck and turned its head 180 degrees until its fiery red eyes found us. They don't want me here, Brooks whispered. It opened its mouth and screamed the wakes of others. The demon runner is in front of us, inches closest, groping the dark strange. It said in its rusty voice, no matter what, Brooks, don't let go of me. Her eyes widened and she pulled away from my gasp. The demon runners let out an ear-piercing cry that screamed to shake the walls. I grabbed Brooke's hand and we jumped feet first into the dark pool. End of chapter 12.